Hi everyone, it's been a while. I heard something big happened. Let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so I know that this was announced and I kind of flipped through the original trailer, but I haven't watched this whole video that's going to tell me all about it. So let's go ahead and watch that for the first time right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Eiji Aonuma, the producer of the Legend of Zelda series, so you'll have to wait a bit longer before we can provide more updates.
This is what I would expect.
In the meantime, we've prepared a different way for you to experience the world of Hyrule, and we have a video to introduce it. Please take a look.
Before I go on, I just have to say, I understand they're going to use the time set 100 years before Breath of the Wild, which I think is just a brilliant idea. It's a great place to set a Zelda Musou game. Really clever. I can't believe that I never thought about it. I've been asked 100 times, 1,000 times, like, what setting or what game series I think would make a good Warriors game. Maybe someone has asked me that. I've been asked that a lot. But as far as I'm concerned, that's like the most perfect time setting that you could place it. I think I once talked about how the time before Skyward Sword, when Hyrule, the world down below, when the humans were living in the cloud, that would be a good place because there's so many enemies to fight. But this one is just as good and really smart by them to use the popularity of Breath of the Wild in this next game, because for a long time people were begging to have characters from Breath of the Wild in Hyrule Warriors, and man, this is going to bring so many people back. I'm thrilled to hear that. Let's see.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of Calamity Ganon, a primal evil that has endured over the
Is that Impa? I think it is. I played it in Japanese, so...
I think you are now ready. Ready to hear what happened 100 years ago.
It's the king, isn't it? This isn't really an analysis, this is just me reacting, so... I've never actually played Breath of the Wild fully in English. I should probably do that before this comes out. I don't even know if there's enough time. This is so soon. I'm wondering, so they're going to have kind of a dodge slowdown system. I don't know exactly how that would work in two-player. I mean, technically whenever you did a Musou attack in these games, it slows down around you, and if you're playing two-player, you can see everything else slow down around that character. But I guess you would only be able to do this against more powerful enemies. Like, your typical enemy here is probably not going to slow it down versus, you know, the more powerful... Gyarados, however you pronounce it over here, probably would slow things down. But she's probably an ally because you're playing as... Yeah. So basically all the characters you would expect. You have the 4 champions, Link, Zelda... Anyone else that we can really confirm? I mean, you're probably going to be able to play as Ganon or Ganondorf in some form. Maybe they'll introduce a form of Ganondorf just so you can play as him, because that's such a staple. Like, Hyrule Warriors 1 would have been the same without that.
I must protect everyone.
What you just saw is the game that Koei Tecmo Games is developing. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
So I guess we know why Koei Tecmo has been so boring and I haven't felt like there's been much to talk about. I could have covered One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, but for my own reasons I didn't spoil anything for myself by playing into that content. And it just felt like they stopped doing stuff after Persona 5 Scramble, which still hasn't come out in English. Not that I'm salty about it. But yeah, this is what they were working on in secret. I mean, this game is only 2 months away, which is insane. So that's rewarding. It's good to know. I had to wait for a while, not having any idea what the point of this channel was, but yeah, let's continue.
This game takes place 100 years before the events of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In that game, the great calamity that occurred 100 years prior was mentioned, but the actual event itself wasn't shown in full. In this game, you'll be able to experience the events of the great calamity. So now, I would like to invite Koei Tecmo Games producer Mr. Hayashi to join me here.
The style of Nintendo Direct, keep it in Japanese with translation, I'm not a huge fan of. It's so slow.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yosuke Hayashi from Koei Tecmo Games and the producer of this game. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity began when Mr. Aonuma approached us saying, "I think it would be interesting to create a Warriors game telling the story of the Great Calamity. What do you think?" The battles between the Kingdom of Hyrule and Calamity Ganon would complement Warrior-style gameplay against large armies.
Definitely.
The previous Hyrule Warriors games were filled with Zelda conventions. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild broke these conventions entirely, and perhaps it's the same for everyone here, but for someone like me, who's been playing Zelda games for a long time, this was an extraordinary experience. It's a new, special title for me. Unlike the previous Hyrule Warriors games, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity was developed by working closely with the Zelda team in every step of the process, including gameplay direction, graphics, world, and all dialogue. And while we maintained the distinct gameplay style of the
I
Warriors
think they're trying to say that the story writing won't be terrible this time.
series, with exciting 1 versus 1,000 battles and a wide variety of playable characters, this became the only game that will let you experience the world 100 years prior to the events of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild firsthand.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played Breath of the Wild, but I have to wonder, like, are they going to have more characters than just, like, the 4 champions and Link and Zelda? Probably Ganondorf in some way. He'll probably have some kind of human form that he uses. Like, who could they add? It's from that 100 years ago, but personally, whoever they add, it's been a long time since I played Breath of the Wild. I can't remember all the character names off the cuff. But I'm hoping that we still get, like, outside Zelda characters, or even just Breath of the Wild versions of them. Like, if we got a real Tingle, or I guess Wolf Link was in the game, so maybe we can have a little Midna riding him or something. The way I hope the game is set out is that it has a great story mode, just like Persona 5 Scramble. But then, on top of that, and unless you imported the game, you probably haven't played Persona 5 Scramble, great story mode, and what they really did well was exploration. You had a big open environment, little limited battles that you could get into, but I hope they could do something like that, where you actually explore an area in Breath of the Wild. I'm calling it Breath of the Wild, Age of Calamity. But I hope that after the story mode, there's a separate mode, like the adventure mode, which is such a big part of the original Hyrule Warriors. I would hope that there would be something in there where you could unlock extra characters who weren't necessarily in the story. For example, Tingle is nowhere in the Hyrule Warriors story. You know, other characters like Yuga and all the DLC characters who don't really have a presence in the game outside of the adventure mode theming. I hope that that's definitely still in this one, but Persona 5 Scramble didn't do that. It was just a story experience, and that could be what the team is going for more nowadays. Hard to say. We'll have to wait until the 26th, but let's go ahead and finish this. Oh, that's
Thank you, Mr. Hayashi. During the development of the previous Hyrule Warriors games, I was impressed with how the Warriors development team, led by Mr. Hayashi, had a deep understanding of the Legend of Zelda series. This time
Yeah, it was
around,
like the ultimate
they
fan
made it
game.
possible to create this new experience by combining the well-detailed world of Breath of the Wild with Warriors gameplay. Therefore, I believe this game will offer the experience of the great Calamity battles that weren't fully shown in the original game. I hope that both those who played the previous Hyrule Warriors games and those who played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild can experience this game. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity will launch on
Such
November
beautiful
20th.
art. November 20th. I guess that's worldwide.
Thank you for your continued support for The Legend of Zelda and this game.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。
Yeah, so that's all the information we have about it right now. There's been other details, like various forms that it's going to be sold at. I know it goes on pre-order in Japan this weekend, I think it is, which is only a couple days after this video's post date. Hard to say what they're going to reveal in the future. Maybe we'll get more ideas of what characters will be in the game, but I doubt we'll really know too much about the story progression or any extra modes for quite a while. But still, pretty damn exciting. And I'm glad that I'll have something that'll be worth making content for this channel again. Just for a quick update before I go at the end, I'm going to be trying to finish the main series on my main channel, Shane Brained. I only have 4 more videos to release. One of them's already done at this time of recording. So I really have 3 more videos to make, and it's pretty likely that I'll still be making that up until the end of December. But if I can, I'll try to get some light coverage out on this channel. I'll probably be in the middle of making my Fire Emblem Three Houses retrospective when this game launches. Ideally, I have a whole video and a second video to finish before I even get to that point. But anyway, be sure to follow me on Twitter, where I'll be talking about different thoughts about the game, probably in a much more direct manner than like having to make a video about it. It's a much quicker thing where I get my thoughts out. So yeah, thanks for sticking around, everybody. It's been a while, but I'm glad to have something to talk about again that I can actually be passionate about here. I might be gone for a bit, but I guess I'll see you again when this game finally comes out. Take care. Bye.